Hi, Bill Cullen here, tossing out the welcome mat for another edition of Cullen's Adventures. A very practical sort of excursion today into the realm of first aid and how to give it. This little refresher course in what to do till the doctor comes is presented as a special service by this station and is furnished by Jennings Incorporated, publishers of the Book of Knowledge, the foremost children's encyclopedia for more than 50 years. This being the season of the year when the youngsters of the household are much more likely to be engaged in outdoor activities than those of the indoor variety, this is also the season of the year, then, of the largest number of youthful cuts and scratches and bruises and such. Therefore, this might be a good time for a quick refresher course in some of the basic points of first aid. I'm prepared to provide you with such a course right now, thanks to the special How to Give First Aid section of the Book of Knowledge. When you come upon an accident or try to help someone who's badly hurt, it's wise to have a definite plan of action to follow. First, check quickly to learn whether the victim has injuries calling for immediate action. Most cases do not require speedy action, and haste in handling the injured person often causes greater harm than doing nothing at all. Only in cases of stoppage of breathing, severe bleeding, or poisoning should the first aider take steps to correct the situation at once. Now, if none of these three conditions is present, it may be best to do nothing. Often the best first aid is to keep the victim lying exactly where he is, warmly covered, until the ambulance or doctor arrives at the scene. If the accident involves severe bleeding, the best thing to do is to thrust a germ-free dressing into the wound. If bandages aren't easily obtainable, use a piece of cloth, any clean cloth, folded into a pad. Don't remove it or bleeding may start all over again. If the cloth becomes soaked, place additional cloth over it and maintain the pressure. Keep the victim quiet and don't move him until it's absolutely necessary. A tourniquet may be useful in stopping severe bleeding, but don't use one unless it's absolutely necessary. And keep it in mind that tourniquets are only used when the bleeding involves arms and legs. Never use a tourniquet to try to stop bleeding of the face, head, neck, or trunk. And never make a tourniquet from rope, string, or very narrow strips of cloth, because they cut into the flesh and are very painful. A triangular bandage folded into a band about 2 inches wide makes a good tourniquet, but you can use a necktie, a belt, or a stocking if nothing better is available. They should always be placed between the heart and the wound, never below the wound. Here's another bit of first aid advice. Whenever there's a break in the outer skin surface, even if bleeding isn't severe, try to keep germs away by not touching the wound or the nearby skin with your fingers. Don't even breathe directly over it. Apply a sterile gauze dressing and hold it in place with a bandage, making sure that your fingers don't touch any part of the dressing that will come in contact with the wound. Since minor wounds and scratches often become infected, it's wise to see a doctor for even a small one. But if you must treat it yourself, most doctors advise that you apply no antiseptic, but wash the wound thoroughly in clean water and cover it with a sterile dressing. Well, that, it appears, is all we have time for on this quick springtime first aid lesson. I hope you never have occasion to use it, but like the old saw says, forewarned is forearmed. Before we sign off for today, a quick invitation for the moms and dads in the crowd with youngsters of school age. We have put together a booklet containing some more interesting facts and figures, which I'm sure you'll enjoy reading. If you'd like to have one, why don't you let us hear from you? There's no charge. All we need, your name and address on a postcard. Mail it to Cullen's Adventures, Box 3400, Grand Central Station, New York City, and we'll send the booklet right out. I'll be back on Monday with another edition of these adventures, furnished by Jennings Incorporated, publishers of the Book of Knowledge. Hope you'll join me. Until then, this is Bill Cullen saying have a nice weekend and goodbye for now.